Hello, my name is Rachel, and today I'm bringing you my January and February book haul. So today I'm just going to go through all the books that I have acquired in the months of February and January, which is quite a few because I love to buy books, and I've tried book bans in the past. They just don't work for me. I just love buying books. As you might be able to tell behind me, these are even just part of my shelves. So I just love books, and I'm just going to keep buying them. So I basically just rounded them all up. These are going to be in no particular order. Let's just dive through. So the first one I picked up at Barnes & Noble, and that is Midnight in Chernobyl. This is by Adam Higginbotham, and I've seen this talked about before. It was on the Goodreads list this year, and I love a good nonfiction paperback for some reason. So when I saw it, I decided to go ahead and pick it up because I'm definitely interested in reading it. I'm just not sure when I'll get to it, but now it's on my shelves and I can read it when I'd like. Another book that I picked up at Barnes & Noble is a book I've already read, and that is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. We're going to be reading this for my high school book club in the coming months, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up since I didn't already own it, and I'm excited to dive in and give it a reread. If you're not familiar, this is a book told in verse about a boy who is just realized his brother has been shot, and he's kind of plotting revenge. The tagline that I use on the back to describe it best is 60 seconds, 7 floors, 3 rules, 1 gun. So he is literally, over the course of 60 seconds in this elevator, rehashing what's happened, kind of relaying some information about his life in general, and thinking about what his next actions are going to be. It's really powerful, and I'm excited to get to this again. Next up at Barnes & Noble, I also picked up a copy of The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. The movie trailer has got me totally interested. I know it's going to be a little divergent from the original book, but I still would like to read it because it's super short and a classic going into the movie. So I picked this up so that I could give it a read soon. Next, I picked up 2 thrillers simply because I liked one of this author's books in the past, so I decided to just jump all in on board the Riley Sager train. So I went ahead and picked up Final Girls and The Last Time That I Lied. I'm excited to get to both of these and see what I think, hopefully very soon. I was hoping to get to Final Girls last month, but it just didn't happen, but soon. Another thriller that I picked up that I'm excited to get to is One of Us Is Next by Karen McManus. This is the sequel to One of Us Is Lying, which we read for book club last year and I really liked, so I'm super excited to get to the sequel. Hopefully, again, that'll be soon because I really would like to see what happens in a mystery sequel. That is just so interesting to me, so excited to pick this one up. Next, I found kind of a random book at Half Price Books that I decided to buy, and it's called The Witches, Suspicion, Betrayal, and Hysteria in 1692 Salem by Stacy Schiff. Like I said, I'm kind of a sucker for nonfiction and paperback, and I had just read kind of a witchy book when I saw this and decided to go ahead and get this and maybe save it for the fall. I think this would be a perfect time to pick it up. Next, I picked up a new copy of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. My copy was not exactly what I was happy with, so I wanted to get a different copy, and I ended up passing my older copy along, but I picked up a new copy that I'm a little bit more happy with because we're going to be reading this for my peer book club in the near future. Next, I went ahead and picked up The Natural Way of Things by Charlotte Wood. This was recommended by some booktuber that I watched, and I can't remember. I'll have to do a little bit more of a deeper dive. When I read this and review it for you, I definitely will link it below. But it was one of those, if you like this, you'll like this type of scenarios, and yeah, I was sold. It was marketed in the booktube video as a combination of Stolen by Lucy Christopher and Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood, I believe. So yes, I had to pick this up. And when I read and review this for you, and hopefully maybe by the time I have this posted, I will have figured out who recommended this to me, and I can link it down below. Next up are 3 books that I already have read but needed to own. So first up is a newer release, and that is Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland, and this is the sequel to Dread Nation, also obviously by Justina Ireland. Fantastic, so good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, my first and only 5-star read of the year so far. Fantastic. If you haven't read Dread Nation yet, you absolutely need to. I totally just spill about this book and Dread Nation in my January wrap-up, but basically it is like Civil War with zombies and kick-ass ladies. It's fantastic. Definitely recommend Dread Nation, and of course the sequel, Deathless Divide. I also read and needed to have Jane Anonymous. This is by Lori Feria Stolares, I believe, and this was just so good. It reminded me a lot of Stolen by Lucy Christopher. So dark and twisty and like emotional. I just really enjoyed this. It was a surprise. I haven't really heard many people talk about this one, but I really enjoyed it. If you have read Stolen by Lucy Christopher, I think you're gonna like this one as well. I also picked up a copy of The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey, which I mentioned in like my mini haul during a vlog earlier, that for some reason when I decided to try to Marie Kondo my house, I got rid of my signed copies of the second and third books in the Fifth Wave series, and I totally regret it. Although it's going to be kind of a fun scavenger hunt now for the rest of my life. Every time I see these books, I'm going to pick them up and see if it's my signed copy. But nonetheless, I just decided to bite the bullet and maybe buy them back. So I found this one pretty cheap at Half Price Books. So I just went ahead and picked it up because I'm more than likely going to reread this series in the future. I really have no idea why I got rid of them in the first place. But I bought this one and I've already read it. Next up, I picked up Kill Creek. This is by Scott Thomas. This is kind of like an indie horror novel that I've been seeing making the rounds, and I've been wanting to read it. I've borrowed it from the library several times, and my library doesn't actually have a copy of it, so they had to borrow it from a different library, and I thought, this is crazy. I'm just going to buy it so that it's here when I'm ready. I'm just going to buy it so it's here when I'm ready to read it, which hopefully is soon, because it sounds amazing. I really don't know what it's about. I think it's mostly just kind of like a haunted house situation, and I'm just really wanting to get to it soon. Next, I bought the second book in the Truly Devious series. This is The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. I'm hoping to like marathon this series now that it's all out, so I decided to go ahead and buy the second one since it's out in paperback, and hopefully I'm going to get to this series during our teen reading challenge in the month of March. Next up is another Half Price Books buy, and that is Carrying On by Rainbow Rowell. I have not found a Rainbow Rowell book that I've been that interested in, but I just keep hearing that they're so fantastic, so I want to give it a try. And I mean, I just love this cover. I want to read it too to see like if I want to promote it in our school library, so I decided just to go ahead and grab myself a copy since it wasn't that expensive at Half Price Books. It was in great condition and it had this adorable cover on it, so I'm gonna give it a try and see what I think. And then next I bought a copy of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling set in her new kind of boarding school setting that I'm hoping is going to be just a bunch of fairy tale retellings, but essentially it's just amazing. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so you kind of know what's happening going in. We have an Indian princess and a British lord who have turmoil between their families dating back centuries to when the British ruled over India, and there was a curse thrown out, and I mean there's just a lot of things coming back. There is a lot of allusions to the Beauty and the Beast movie, and it's just really cute. I needed to have this. I am a big fan of Sandhya Menon. She writes romances that I just eat up. Like, I know my style of romance is not for everybody. I kind of like the cheesy YA, angsty, over-the-top dramatic like romances that are just kind of like would make you roll your eyes normally, but I just love them. They're fantastic, and I enjoyed this one, so I needed to have a copy of it. I also picked up a few kind of like contemporary romancy paperbacks. I got To the Nines by Janet Ivanovich. This is one of the next ones I need to read. I think 8 is the next one I need to read, which I don't remember what it's called. Hard 8 is what I need to read next, and then To the Nines. And I love these in like the little paperback format, so I found it pretty cheap, bought it. I also got Dirty Sexy Knitting by Christy Ridgway, which I have no idea what it's about, but I thought that was just hilarious. And then I picked up one that just sounds so on brand for me that I could not get it. It's called Lost Books and Old Bones, a Scottish bookshop mystery by Paige Shelton. And like, it's exactly what it sounds like. There's this lady who runs a bookstore, and there's like a murder outside the bookstore, and they have to solve it. Yes, please. Then next, I bought another copy of Pride and Prejudice. If you are new around here, I collect those. I have a bunch of them, and I just could not resist this edition. Oh my goodness, look at this. It's called, I think it's just the winter edition. I can't remember now, but it's beautiful. It's got like this white cover on it with cutouts on it, and then all the pages are like blue edges, blue sprayed edges, and it's just beautiful, and I love it. It's got the little bookmark, and I love it. It's going on my collection, and I'm super happy that it came with like a little plastic cover to make sure that this cutout piece is gonna stay protected and nice for like ever. Yay! And then last but not least, we had a school book fair, so I bought a bunch of books. So the first one I bought was Reflection, A Twisted Tale by Elizabeth Lim. We're thinking about possibly doing one of these as a book club pick for school. And if you are unfamiliar with this Twisted Tale series, they essentially take a what if question for each of the Disney movies and rewrite kind of what happened. So this one I think is like the best what if so far, and it's what if Mulan had to travel to the underworld. So I'm intrigued, and you know, the money goes to a good cause, so how can you not buy those books? So I got that one. I also bought Oz the Complete Collection. This is like a Marvel bind up of the comics, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not crazy about Wizard of Oz stuff, but the artwork in this was so gorgeous, I could not let it go. So I ended up buying this simply because of the artwork. So excited to get to this one. I also picked up Devils Unto Dust by Emma Berquist. This was recommended to me by someone who'd read it literally during the fair, and they said it was fantastic. I believe it's kind of zombie-esque, kind of dark, and I know we have this at the high school, so I'd like to read it and be able to recommend it in the future. So I picked this one up. This one I picked up purely on just the cover and the idea of this. It's Daphne and Velma, The Vanishing Girl, an original novel by Josephine Ruby. That just sounds so cute that you have like Daphne and Velma in high school together, like solving a mystery. I just love the premise of this, so I got it. I also picked up Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Burchardhoust. Oh dear, I apologize if I butchered that name. Because I love this cover. The hardback cover is very like dark, and it just didn't capture my attention, but this one did for some reason. And our theme for summer reading is going to be like fairy tale retelling, so I decided to go ahead and pick this one up and see how good it is. I currently have another student who's reading it, and she said it's very good, so I'm hoping it's going to be fantastic. And then, last but not least, I bought Guest by Mary Downing Hahn. If you're unfamiliar with middle grade books, she's like kind of like the Stephen King, if you will, of like the horror genre for middle grade books. And this is really the first one that's ever really caught my attention before. It's a changeling tale, essentially. According to the cover, basically this girl realizes that her brother has been switched with a changeling, which is kind of like, I believe it's like Irish folklore, where it's almost like fairies like trade one of them for a human, and when they start portraying like different characteristics, you know that you have been switched with a changeling. So I'm interested to read this and see how this goes. And then I bought 2 bookmarks at the Scholastic Book Fair. One of them has little red pandas and it says pandemonium, and the other one says no problema. So thank you, Scholastic Book Fair. And you're welcome for all the money I spent there. Hello, it's Editing Rachel, just popping in really quick to let you know about 2 books that I totally forgot. One, I just totally forgot about it. It was sitting on my shelf, and that is Hope Never Dies. This is by Andrew Schaefer. It's an Obama-Biden mystery, and as you can see, these 2 have teamed up to fight some crime, and I've heard about this book because he's a fairly local author, and I've heard it's just really funny and just a fun ride, and that's, I think, what we all could use during an election season. So, I mean, it's just kind of funny. So I'm hoping that I will like this and enjoy this. I know there is a sequel, so I'm looking forward to enjoying this one, and maybe it could be a peer group pick. I don't know. We'll see. The other one I'm super, super excited to tell you about. The reason I totally blanked on this one is because it's my most recent purchase, and it was upstairs on my nightstand because I'm hoping to read it soon. And just forgot to put it on my list of purchases yet. And that is the first published work by a student at our high school. Her name is Isabel Tilton, and her book is Embers Dragons. And the cover is amazing. I'm super excited about all of this. She worked with somebody to do this awesome artwork. And yes, this is her very first published work. She is currently a senior in our school system. And she had a little book signing, and I was able to purchase this and get it signed and celebrate write with her. I'm so proud of her. This is through Brower Books, and I believe it's currently only pre-orders, but I believe it will be on Amazon soon. I will leave a link to it on Goodreads and directly to the publisher below if you want more information, but it is going to be a little bit more accessible in the future, but right now I believe it is only pre-order. But I'm super excited, and yeah, how exciting is that? I'm so pumped to add this to my TBR, and I'm looking forward to being able to add this book into our library collections. I think it's going to be really inspiring that they know that one of their own has work that is sitting on our shelves. So I think that's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to jump into this. That's all I wanted to update you on. Thanks. Back to pre-filmed Rachel. So these are all the books that I bought in the last 2 months. Yes, there's a ton. No, I'm not going to even try a book buying ban anymore, but I am going to try to like keep track of what I buy every year and try to read it a little earlier, because I do have a really bad habit of buying books and then like years later getting to them. So with that in mind, let me know if you've read any of these, if you think I should bump them up the list a little bit faster. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.